evening and welcome to West Talk. It's Tuesday, March the 18th. Hope everybody had a great St. Patrick's Day weekend. I know I did. Lots of great entertainment. A big show at Marble on Friday night, big show at the Civic Center on Saturday night. It's really interesting to see how the dynamics have changed, though, of how people celebrate this weekend. I know thinking back, say, probably 8-9 years ago on St. Patrick's Day, every small pub, every small place had entertainment going all day and all night long. This year I noticed that, you don't really see that as much. What you see instead are big events that bring probably all the same amount of people out. I think it's still cool. It's a different way to celebrate, but I wish both could exist. I wish that there could be those small pubby little celebrations and live music as well as the big events later in the night. So maybe something that we can all consider for next year. Anyway, we've got two interviews for you today. The first one is going to be a bit of a repeat. We're going to throw you back to a chat we had with Patty Ricketts from the Port of Corner Brook. And we were talking about the cruise season that we had last year. Next week, we're hoping to have Rob Thomas in, who just won a big award, the Cruise NL Vision Award. And so we're hoping that we can chat with him a little bit next week about the coming cruise season and maybe what that's going to look like in light of all the international craziness that's been going on, we'll say. Also joining us live for an interview today, a fresh one, is going to be Nicholas Leno and Willow Keane, who are going to be talking about the Gross Mourne Theatre Festival. You're going to love it. Stay tuned. We're going to get going with this interview with Patty. Well, the cruise industry is the fastest growing tourism segment worldwide, and it's been super noticeable right here in Corner Brook. It feels like even just over the last 4 or 5 years, the amount of ships visiting Corner Brook has doubled. And this summer alone, we've really noticed what it looks like on these days when thousands of people are walking around the streets here. It's exciting, it feels new, and so here to tell us more about it today from the Port of Corner Brook is Cruise Marketing Coordinator Patty Ricketts. Bye.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming down.
My pleasure.
So am I crazy, or does it seem like all this cruise stuff has just like exploded in the last few years, or has it always been this way and I just never noticed?
Oh my God, no, it definitely has. We've always had a presence, I want to say, since 1976 here in Corner Brook. Yeah. But in the last 5 to 10 years, it's become a community staple here in our region, and people tend to look forward to it. Yeah. So we've been steady growing since 2017, actually, which is excellent news for us.
Yeah, so this year, is this like a record year or kind of like close to a record year in comparison?
Okay, you can't steal our thunder so soon, but we are anticipating that this will be another record year for the Port of Corner Brook. Right. So last year we did announce that we had 28 ships, and on schedule this year we have 36 with 4 remaining for the season. And we welcomed 60,000 passengers and crew combined last season. And it's looking good for this year.
Right, you never really know, because I guess there's still a possibility that like a cruise could cancel or some sort of thing, something like that.
Unfortunately, that's a lot to do with the weather in the Atlantic region this time of year. So we did see 2 cancellations, but we also picked up 2 calls. So we're still doing good on the back end.
So you get these surprises sometimes. It's like, hey, we're coming.
Nerve-wracking, but yet good surprises.
Yeah, because I don't know if, probably a lot of people are super familiar with some of the logistics of our port, but for instance, we only have a parking space for 1, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So we do have 1 berth, so it is definitely a challenge trying to handle both cruise and cargo at the Port of Corner Brook. They're working closely alongside of us to help mitigate those issues, and will continue to do so in the future. And we do have the potential to put a cruise ship at anchor as well. So whenever you see them down towards the end of Riverside Drive, they're at anchor and tendering towards our port.
So I think that's just a sign that like the demand is very high. Potentially, I don't want to say higher than what we can accommodate today, but it really seems like the pressure is on here now for the port and for the city to be able to accommodate all these guests that have just been coming in recent times. And I know from even just doing a bit of guiding down there what it looks like when these big ships come in. I mean, it's all hands on deck, literally, and it's bus drivers from every bay in Newfoundland coming down here to accommodate the passengers. So, can you speak at all to sort of, I guess, maybe some of the challenges that the city, was faced with when the amount of cruise traffic just sort of doubles, and then how we deal with this, what kind of things are being done now to, I guess, meet the demand?
So I guess one of the largest challenges here in the Canada-New England region specifically, and in Atlantic Canada itself, is in regards to busing shortages. Everybody feels it, everybody in the tourism industry.
That's not just a Corner Brook issue.
That's not just a Corner Brook issue. So like you said, we often see buses come all the way from St. John's. And in the last couple of years, our tour operators have expressed an interest in doing more offerings, more shore excursion offerings, that are based not around buses.
Right.
So we're hoping to do a walking tour next season. We have a couple Corner Brook Stream Trail. There's ATV rides. There's Zodiac rides.
Yeah.
So we're definitely looking at that as more of an opportunity than a challenge, and hope to have more sustainable tour offerings in the future.
That's a really good adaptation, right? It's like there's only so many buses.
Yes.
So, but now I've noticed as well, being down around the port now, a ship is in and there's a dozen ATVs down there on the port, ready to take people off. Or like you said, a Zodiac pulls up and people are just leaving right from there. So I think that's the type of stuff we can work with, hey, as a city. And so for you, obviously as a cruise marketing coordinator, it's one of your jobs to, showcase the beauty of this port of call, the destination, and I guess try to be reaching out to other cruise lines and, establishing new business and things. What do you think is the most exciting thing, the thing that makes you the proudest when you're selling Corner Brook basically as a cruise destination? How do you feel about it?
Obviously, I love where I live, and I find it easy to sell an area that is as beautiful and hospitable as Corner Brook is.
Yeah.
And in case you didn't know, which I'm sure you do, as a shore excursion, a lot of our tours do end up going across the bay, down the bay, and to Grossmore area.
Yeah.
So we're not only selling Corner Brook, we're selling our entire region.
Yeah.
Something that we always like to pitch is our cruise welcome program, and just ensuring that every step of the passenger's journey here in Corner Brook, that they feel like they can reach out to a local, get a question answered, find their favorite fish and chip spot, etc.
What is that? What is the cruise welcome program?
So that's something that the Port of Corner Brook implemented. It's always been around since our incorporation,
Yeah.
but we've grown it in the last couple of years. So for every cruise ship that comes in, we have a dockside vendor market. We normally put that expression of interest out early in the spring of the year. So we have 7 local vendors down there selling anything from health and beauty to knitwear, clothing, etc.
Okay, that's those kind of sheds down in the back that I would have saw, like the little...
The lovely market sheds, yes.
Yeah, shed's not the great word. I mean, it's better than tents. I remember back years ago, it'd just be these, tents that they would pop up there kind of
Yes.
unsightly. And, yeah.
It was. So we've definitely grown in the last couple of years
Yeah.
from there. And we also expanded on the local musicians that we pull forward this year. So depending on the size of the ship, we'll have a local musician perform anywhere from 2 to 4 hours.
Sweet.
I know, my favorite part. And then we have our cruise information officers as well. So that's a team of 15 committed, dedicated, stellar individuals who just love showcasing the best of Corner Brook and helping out wherever they can.
So is that like the people on the port who are wearing the little tartan things around their neck, or?
It is.
Yeah, so they're like ambassadors, kind of?
They are. It's similar to the program that the city of Corner Brook has with
Yeah.
their city ambassadors. They're all wearing blue up there. And it's just trying to provide a friendly face and somebody to help whenever needed.
Cool, that's a good idea.
It is. It sets us apart from a lot of other ports.
Yeah.
And we're proud of that.
I think there's a lot of things that set us apart from other ports. And a thing I keep hearing from guests when I get to interact with them is how they're so shocked at how exotic this place actually is. They just think it's like PEI or just like Nova Scotia, and then they realize, wow, this place is so unique, so it has its own story, and people are generally impressed. They also find it cool when they get off the ship and they're in a different time zone. It's a different half-hour difference, but I'm sure maybe that could also cause some troubles at the port sometimes.
Oh my God, we get so many questions about what time it is and why we think we're so special to be half an hour off.
Yeah.
Our staff can speak better on it than I can,
Yeah.
but they have some silly answers to share.
I just make stuff up, yeah.
Yeah, most people do. Sometimes we do find it a little different. A lot of ships stick with local time when they're here in Corner Brook versus going to Newfoundland time, so we're always cognizant of that.
Yeah, that is interesting. Again, just one of the things that makes us such a unique and exotic place. As soon as I, get on the bus with these people, I like to tell them that this is, first of all, you get to check this off your travel bingo card, because unless you've traveled in India, you probably haven't been in this, in a half-hour unique time zone like this before. So, that's fun. It is a very unique place. But also, to me, when I think about cruising, right? You think about the Caribbean and stuff like that. You think about summertime vacations, when actually most of the demand that we have here seems to be like now,
in the fall of the year, not in the balmy summer months that we get here, but in the cooler fall seasons. What are you hearing about why that is?
So originally, one of our main itineraries were the Canada New England cruise. So coming out of New York, Boston, Montreal, and then coming down around our area. And that was originally marketed as the colors. Come for the colors in the Atlantic region. You'll see the beautiful oranges and reds.
That was like the whole, that was the whole marketing.
And it was, and we're members of a bunch of different associations, and we're working to grow on that narrative, slightly change the narrative to include the spring and summer months. So we have seen an increase over the last couple of years, not only ourselves, but everybody else in our partnership. And we hope to continue to see that growth in the future. A lot of our ones in the summer months were either coming from the transatlantic, so generally leaving Southampton and going on longer itineraries, or the Iceland, Greenland itinerary is significantly growing right now.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of the uptake from that. And they tend to sail in the summer months.
Okay. So before we were, just to sort of summarize that a little bit, like we're mostly getting these Eastern Seaboard, United States kind of itineraries, and now we're getting in on some European itineraries as well.
We've always been in on them, but we're growing.
Right.
Growing in a way that we love to see.
Yeah. I mean, I think that just where Newfoundland is positioned too, like literally in the world, in the ocean, it seems like a really strategic place for cruise lines to be working in, really, right? Like it's a lot of safe harbors and otherwise a sketchy North Atlantic. We have lots of space. We have lots of natural social distancing and things here. So hopefully these cruise lines are falling in love with the place. And it seems like they're sending more ships our way, which is probably a good sign.
It definitely is. So this season alone, we actually had, I believe it was 9 inaugural calls. And some of those ships had entered not only Corner Brook for the first time, but our Atlantic region for the first time. And they just released their 2026, and they're looking at sticking around. So that's excellent news for us.
That's wild.
I know.
I think that 9 new ships just came here this year for the first time.
Yes.
So what are it seems very exciting, right? And to people, I know there's tourism operators who are really feeling this, like just this last summer alone, they're feeling like, wow, what a boost to my business. Restaurants in Corner Brook that I know are saying they're so grateful for that extra little bump in business, right? So, but how do we ensure that this is like a long-term thing? And if there's tourism operators out there right now listening to this and thinking, oh, maybe I should re-gear my business to try to adapt to the cruise opportunities, do you feel confident that that's a safe bet, that the cruise business is like here to stay and is going to continue to grow? Are there any threats that we have here to the cruise business that make it delicate, or what's your feeling about the future of cruising?
We're certainly hopeful about the future of cruising. My position alone only came into effect in the last year because the Port of Corner Brook is committed to growing our industry and providing the economic and social benefit, cultural benefit to everybody in our region. So we continue to market our region at multiple events every year. We travel and meet cruise line executives in their home offices, whether that's in Seattle or it's in Miami. So we're always putting Corner Brook out there in their faces and promoting what we have and what we're hoping to have in the future, and encouraging them to come for the first time or to continue to come for years.
That's pretty encouraging, actually, to think. So, I mean, obviously then you've had no small hand to play in the success that we're seeing here in Corner Brook. You're new on the job. You're saying that for the first time now, we actually have somebody we can send out and market our product. I don't know that other people have been doing it. There's been people.
Still 2 of us.
Yes, and I know Jen down there was wearing multiple hats for a long time, and so now this is just a way that you can both sort of grow, I guess. So keep doing what you're doing, and one final note, because we just got the light from Gian there. Are there opportunities, do you think, in the future because the cruise industry is growing very, very rapidly? Are there is there an opportunity for Newfoundland to get cruise ships in the wintertime? And you touched on the springtime, and we know now it's mostly in the fall, but is there a world where we could just be getting cruises like all year round?
Well, we'd love to have cruises all year round. Of course, there is some limitations to that. A lot of it is based on the type of vessels that we get to come into our region.
Yeah.
So all of those larger lines wouldn't be able to handle the ice in our bay. But some of the smaller expedition luxury lines have sailed into Cruise St. Lawrence is expecting a winter cruise this year. St. John, New Brunswick had received one around Christmas last year.
Cool.
So we're hopeful for what the future holds and
Yeah.
look to expanding just beyond the fall of the year.
That would be exciting.
Definitely
And
would.
200 or 300, people is still for like our area can be, a nice little bump and can be an exciting day in Corner Brook to have those amount of people walking around. Also, I don't know what we would do with like 6,000 people here in mid-February if they got off the ship. So I think that's
I
a really,
truly don't.
yeah, I think it's a really scalable way to go about it. So I think it's all very encouraging. Patty, is there anything else that you'd want to say now to the people of Western Newfoundland regarding our port, our cruise opportunities, or anything else in the last moment of our interview?
Just if people were interested in getting more involved in the cruise industry, do feel free to reach out to the Port of Corner Brook. We'll help lead you in the right direction and connect you with the right people. And thank you to everybody in our community who shows us so much support day in, day out. And they're adaptable to all of the changes and do it with the biggest smile on their face. We're grateful for that.
Amazing. Yes, congrats to you and your excellent team.
Thank you.
That was Patty Ricketts, the cruise marketing coordinator down at the Port of Corner Brook. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
All right, and now joining us virtually for a chat about the very exciting theatre season up in Gros Morne. From Gros Morne Theatre Festival, we are joined by artistic producer Nicholas Leno and playwright and actor Willow Keane. Guys, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Now, you're all over the country. Nick's over in Ottawa, Willow's out in St. John's, but I guess soon you'll all be here with me on the West Coast.
Yeah, in about 4 weeks for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the 30th season of the Gros Morne Theatre Festival. Nick, if you could start us off by just talking about some of the past shows and some of the favorite things that people have come to love about the festival that are going to be returning this year before we chat about some of the exciting new things.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. So yeah, like you said, celebrating the 30th anniversary season of the Gros Morne Theatre Festival up in beautiful Cowhead, which is super exciting for us. We have 8 shows total in the season this year, and I counted this morning, I think 165 individual performances. We're open 7 nights a week this year throughout June, July, and August. So there's a lot going on. But as you mentioned, we have a handful of returning favorites this year. So Nettie Norris Night, a show that's been running in different iterations and different capacities for, I think, over 20 years at the festival, will be back. That's actually the first show that we open in the season. And that show is a song cycle of traditional Newfoundland folk music. Every year it's arranged and directed by Stephanie Payne, who lives in Cowhead and is just an incredible singer, songwriter, storyteller. So she puts that together for us every year. And we're really excited to be offering that actually 5 nights a week throughout June, which is great. So that one will be returning. We premiered a brand new musical last year by Corner Brook playwrights Adam Brake and Alison Crow. That musical was called Newfoundland Rocks, a Cowhead Shed Party. It's a fantastic jukebox musical featuring all kinds of contemporary Newfoundland rock music. It was a big hit last year. And so it's back this summer. We will be opening that show July 5th. And it runs throughout all of July and August on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. Really, really fun show. And the last kind of really exciting returning piece is a play called Our Eliza that'll be running in September at the festival. Our Eliza was written by great Northern Peninsula playwright and novelist Megan Gale Coles. It follows a young woman in an outport family during the Cobb moratorium. It's a really beautiful, touching story. And we sold out the run last year. We did a 2-week run at the festival in August, and we sold it out. You couldn't get a ticket. So now it's back in September. And so anyone that missed it last year is going to have a chance to come see it. And Willow, who is joining me today, in addition to being a phenomenal playwright, also is Eliza in Our Eliza.
Because Cowhead is not Cowhead is a long way from Broadway, but the
It
theater,
is.
but the people, the fans that go up to consume the entertainment up there leave these shows, with the same excitement. So, what's your experience like as an actress and being on stage there?
I could talk about this all day, and like no shade to Broadway, obviously, but I would much prefer to be in Cowhead at the moment. I've actually been working at the festival on and off since 1999, so I'm like one of the OGs, I guess you could say. I've been working there as an actor on and off since 1999, and then I had a baby and kind of took some time off. But now, I mean, Cowhead is just, it's the most beautiful place. It's the most magical place. The people are incredible and welcoming, and I'd always joke with my fellow actors and technicians up there that the locals in Cowhead are very much oh, we love to see you come in and we hate to see you go. That's the kind of love that kind of hits you in the face when you kind of go to Cowhead to work there, and to come back as a playwright is just incredible. And I'm totally honored to have my play up there on the big stage in the brand new beautiful theater, and to get to come back in the extended season as an actor is just a dream come true. When I went back last year to do our Eliza, I took my family with me, and we got to be in Cowhead for a few weeks, and it was really, really wonderful. And I just can't say enough about how good the place is, and how wonderfully Nick is running the place, and has brought some new life and energy into the theater and into the company. And yeah, it's a great place to work. And there's people. I sat in on auditions with Nick for the Supper Club auditions, and there are people from all over the country who want to work in Cowhead, and from further. We had, I think, a woman from the States audition as well. So there are people who want to work here because it's such a great place, and I can't say enough good about it. But I'll end it here because I can really really go on and on
I,
about it.
I hear you, right? Yeah, Gross. It's not too hard to gush about Grossmore, and having the theater up there really is just like an icing on the cake in an otherwise just such a magical area. You mentioned, so as a playwright, is one of your works part of the festival run this year? Is that right?
Yes, it is. I'll
So which one?
uh, maybe I should let Nick take this, but I will say I'll kind of let him take over in a second. But I just, yeah, my play is a comedy, and it's called Supper Club, and it's about five women who come together to host dinner parties every couple months, and things kind of go awry in a comedic sort of fashion. But I'll let Nick take this one. I don't want to ruin any surprises or anything.
Yeah, so we are doing a new dinner theater at the Grossmore Theater Festival for the first time in a very, very long time. In honor of our 30th anniversary season, I thought it would be really great to just change up the dinner theater, and also incorporate the work of a festival veteran like Willow. And so when I kind of went out and I went looking for plays that could work with the kind of dinner theater concept or conceit, Willow sent me her play Supper Club that has toured across the island in, I believe, 2020. But like she said, it's a fantastic comedy. It's a laugh a minute. It features five very, very different Newfoundland women, all at very different points of their lives, have lived different experiences, and yeah, they take turns hosting each other for supper, and comedic chaos ensues pretty quickly.
That sounds
So it's,
amazing.
it's yeah, it's going
Yeah.
to be a fun play, and because we're changing up the play, we're also changing up the dinner theater menu. So we've changed up some of the items in the entree section, and then we've added a whole appetizer course as well. So anyone that's come to the festival before for dinner theater, come on back, because it's going to be a totally new experience, new play and new menu items.
First of all, you mentioned Adam Brake and Alison Crow, who are, of course, old friends of our network here. Just looking through some of the information, I saw Adam attached to a play that stood out to me, Hero Dog, and a story about a dog in relation, a Newfoundland dog, I imagine, as it relates to the SS Effie, famous shipwreck on the Northern Peninsula. Can you tell us a little bit about that play, just for our fans of Adam Brake here in town, I guess?
I would love to. So the dinner theater show that the Grossmont Theatre Festival had been running for over 20 years was a show about the SS Ethia, a shipwreck that happened near Cowhead in 1919. And I wanted to keep the essence of that story alive in the festival. And there's this lore around that story that a great big Newfoundland dog alerted folks to the shipwreck. And some stories say that the dog even jumped in the ocean and pulled people to shore. And so in the spirit of trying to keep that story alive within the festival, I asked Adam Brake to write us a family show called The Hero Dog. Just a short little 45-minute play, really designed for kids, but also families, that will include a breakfast buffet. So the show actually starts at 10 a.m. Folks come in, they get their breakfast, and then they get to watch this new take on an old tale from the Grossmont Theatre Festival. So we're really excited about that one.
So incredible. And so there's just so many offerings. Like you said, 160 chances to see 8 different shows that you're going to have on offer this summer. And so in the final moments here now, what's the best way for just viewers, people who are hearing this, to go and see and learn more about this and to find their tickets, which obviously sell out rapidly? Where should they go?
Yeah. They do. We have a few shows that are already sold out. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking about coming, you should go to www.theatrenewfoundland.com, and you can buy your tickets online. You can also give our box office a call, and they can book you in. But yeah, go to the website. You'll see all the shows. You'll see the schedule, and get those tickets fast.
Incredible. Nicholas, Willow, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you up in Cowhead in 4 or 5 weeks. Thanks so much, guys. We'll be chatting again soon, I hope.
Thanks so much for doing this.
And that was Nick and Willow from the Grossmont Theatre Festival. We're going to take a quick break and come back to wrap this thing up. Stay tuned. And that's it for today's episode. I want to thank Patty Ricketts for letting us replay her interview for a few weeks ago, as well as Nick and Willow from Grossmont Theatre Festival. And hopefully we'll see lots of you folks up around the Cowhead area this summer and taking in the wonderful shows, 8 different shows, 160 offerings. No excuses. Get up there. And that's it. Can't wait to see you guys again next week. Until then, take care.